They recognize their killers, but only in memory. Some crimes disappear quietly. No trial, no conviction, no closure. The killer escapes. The file gathers dust, and time does what it always does. It moves on. But every once in a while, a case refuses to stay buried, and sometimes it doesn't come back as evidence. It comes back as a voice. Around 1909, in a rural region of India, then part of the Gwalior princely state, a boy is born. His name is Suklal Sharma. From the moment he enters the world, something is visibly wrong. This is not a bruise, not a scar, not a birthmark. There is a deep depression in his chest, and his right hand is severely malformed. No thumb, most fingers missing. Only the little finger remains partially intact. Doctors call it a congenital defect, a tragic coincidence of biology. No one imagines that this child will one day be connected to a murder that happened before he was born. As Suklal grows, his behavior begins to trouble his family. He does not play like other children. He avoids loud noises. Sudden sounds make him flinch, and when he begins to speak, his words are not playful. They are specific, controlled, unsettling. "I'm not Suklal," he says one day. "I was Kashi Ram." At first, his family laughs it off. Children imagine. Children pretend. But then he adds something else. A name. Clear. Certain. Unhesitating. Chote Lal killed me. The adults freeze. This is not a name anyone in the family knows. Not a neighbor. Not a relative. And yet the child repeats it. Again and again. The name never changes. The accusation never softens. As the months pass, Suklal begins to describe a life that isn't his. He says he worked as a tax officer, that he traveled between villages, that he investigated people who tried to hide their income. He describes locations his family has never visited, offices he should not know exist, and then he describes his death. He says he was shot, at close range, in the chest. He remembers falling to the ground, struggling to breathe. But what follows is even stranger. He says someone attacked his right hand. Not randomly, not accidentally, deliberately. He explains how his fingers were crushed, and one detail, repeated with disturbing consistency. The little finger had to stay. At this point, the story stops sounding like imagination, because decades earlier, a man named Kashi Ram had in fact been murdered in that exact region, and the details begin to align. Kashi Ram was not an ordinary official. He was known for refusing bribes, for pushing investigations forward when others looked away. One case in particular created tension in the area. It involved a local man whose business depended on tax evasion. His name was Chote Lal. According to later testimony, pressure was applied. Offers were made. Warnings delivered. Kashi Ram refused them all. He did not close the file, and shortly afterward, he was shot while alone. This was not a bar fight, not a sudden argument. This was an execution. The suspect fled immediately. He crossed into British-controlled territory, beyond the reach of local authorities. There was no arrest, no trial. The case went cold, and officially, it stayed that way. Years later, researchers reviewing the original police file noticed something chilling. The autopsy report describes a gunshot wound to the chest and severe trauma to the right hand, damage consistent with crushing. When compared to Suk Lal's congenital condition, the resemblance is impossible to ignore. Not proof, but not coincidence either. Then comes the moment that transforms this case from unsettling to deeply disturbing.
Years after the murder, Choti Lal returns to the region. He has heard rumors that a boy is talking about him. He wants to see for himself. He stands in a crowd, watching, waiting. Suk Lal sees him. Immediately, he stops moving, raises his arm, points, and shouts, "That man is my enemy. He is the one who killed me." There is no courtroom, no police lineup, no legal procedure, but something irreversible happens. A man who escaped justice is identified, not by evidence, but by memory. What happens next is just as unsettling. Despite the identification, despite the public confrontation, no formal investigation is reopened. There is no arrest, no renewed interrogation, no trial. The man the child accused is never prosecuted. The case remains exactly where it had been for years, unfinished. Legally, nothing changes, but something else does. A crime that had been forgotten is remembered again, and a man who escaped justice is forced to face his past, if only in the eyes of a child. This case does not claim to prove reincarnation. It does something far more disturbing. It shows us the limits of what we can explain. Because some crimes don't end when the body is buried. Some don't end when the file is closed. Some seem to wait. In the next episode of Past Life Files, we examine another documented case. Another child, another violent death, and another memory that refused to stay buried. If you're ready, we'll open the next file together. This case was documented in academic research by psychiatrist Ian Stevenson.